for another episode of Embrace the Chase, and this is episode 30. And I'm stoked out of my mind because we have Joshua Jackson on today. And as always, we are interviewing 100 entrepreneurs, authors, and speakers over the next year to pick their brains, learn their stories, and see how we can apply that advice to our lives and make the world a better place. Now, for those of you that do not know who Joshua is, he is a pimp, not a stud, a corporate pimp. And I have all puns intended for that because he is the founder of The Corporate Pimp, as well as an author of How to Pimp Corporate America. And I am pumped to have you on. Josh, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Well, wow. That was a great introduction. Thank you so much for that.
Of course, man. It's all you.
Yeah.
So I love it.
I love give a spotlight.
Of course. Now, for those of you guys wondering, obviously we're going to dive deeper into this like we always do. But basically what Joshua does is he is a career counselor, kind of life coach, to kind of beat around the bushes. He makes sure that people that want to advance in their careers stop being idiots. I'm pumped to have him on. So as always, we're going to stick to the same three buckets. We're going to have him tell a story, have him talk about current projects, and then end it with anything that's on his heart or on his mind. But Josh, if you could kick us off, what in God's name happened in your life to make you start this company and start helping people?
Right. Hey, first of all, Jordan, I just want to say thank you for having me on your podcast, Embrace the Chase. I love it. Love the name and love the mission behind it. So what made me really think about it was when I was in college, I used to always have these odd jobs. I had a job as a dishwasher because I was a dishwasher when I was 15 in my hometown in Jacksonville, Florida, at a dog track. That was my first job, by the way. And then I had several other jobs that I would do. And I remember one of my friends in college used to always say to me, you know, man, like you're just bit pimping. You're just pimping. And that's what made me think. One day I was sitting down and I was just like, okay, I need to come up with an idea to, you know, help people with their careers. How do I help people with their 9-to-5s? Because here's the thing. There's so many resources that are out there that tell you how to be an entrepreneur, you know, how to, you know, own your own business and all this other stuff. But what about people that just want to be successful with their 9-to-5 jobs? I mean, working in corporate America isn't always, you know what I mean, peaches and cream, but it doesn't always have to be a bad or the worst experience ever, you know, working for an employer. So I was like thinking in my head, I'm like, okay, here I am. I'm 27 years old at that time, about 27, 28. And I was making like 6 figures easily. And so as years went by, like when I was like 30, I was like, you know what? You know, I think it was actually 29 because it was 2014. Because 2015 was when I turned 30. So 2014, I just was sitting in my living room, 29 years old, thinking like, how can I help people? You know, what can I do to really educate people on how to be successful with their careers? And I thought back to that story in college when this one friend of mine used to always say, hey, Josh, you're big pimping, you pimp all the time. And then I was like, you know what? I should write a book and it should be called How to Pimp Corporate America. And that's when everything just kind of blew up from there because I had all these other ideas on how I can grow and expand my brand. And so it started out me writing the book, and simultaneously as I'm writing the book, I started a blog called the Official Corporate Pimp blog, and it was thecorporatepimp.net at that time because oddly enough, somebody had .com, but no one was using it. So it was so annoying. So anyway, I got .com. About a year after that, but I went ahead and I started this blog site, and no one knew who the corporate pimp was. I would start a blog article, talk about these are certain ways that you should really advance in your career. These are certain tips, and then I would end it off as sign the corporate pimp. And I know people were looking at the blog like, well, okay, I'm following this page on Facebook. I don't know who this corporate pimp guy is, but then a month before I released my book, it was like, dun, 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 like surprise! The corporate pimp is Joshua Caleb Jackson, and they were like, oh. So then I started having people like, you know, follow me, like telling their friends. They bought my book, and then I hired a publicist in the middle of 2015, and that's when I got on Fox News and ABC News and Book Circle Online and all these different news, like these TV shows and these interviews that I would do. And I was like, wow, okay, this is can really grow into something great. And I never forget, I was in the same time of me actually writing the book as well. I was I actually was doing, other than the blog, I actually was doing Toastmasters. And so I was training to just be a better public speaker altogether. And I came up with this idea right before I published my book to do a nationwide tour to 39 states and 88 cities. And that's what I finished last year, the Revolutionizing Pimping Tour. And with that tour, it really opened my mind to realize how there's so much missing in our education system, teaching students on how to be successful with their career starting in high school, or even in college, really understanding like professional development training. And they don't offer that, in schools, no matter if it's high school, middle school, or even college, unless it's like some organization in college that you can join that may teach that. But they're not teaching this in the classrooms where it needs to be taught. And it just made me just start thinking about how, like, okay, I need to actually like build this company, this career counseling agency, the Corporate Pimp, so that I can address a lot of these issues. And I officially opened my business January 2016. But then this year, January 2017, is when I actually established presence here in San Diego. Now, before I moved to San Diego, I was living in LA and loved it. That's actually where I came up with the idea for the Corporate Pimp. And but after that, after my tour last year, I actually got a job offer out here in Carlsbad, San Diego area. And that's why I was out here. And I said, okay, let me just go ahead and see if I like this a little bit better than LA. And I like it a lot. Don't want to, tell my LA friends that I don't like LA as much as San Diego, but I do love San Diego. San Diego is a beautiful city. I love it out here. It's great. It's wonderful. And so I just decided to build my agency here in San Diego and build it from the ground up. And so that's pretty much how the Corporate Pimp actually started. And it started. It's so funny. It started with an idea to just help people with their careers. How can I help others? But when I was 27, 26, I was already on my way to making six figures working in corporate America. How can I help others do the same thing?
That's awesome, man. That's super cool.
Thank you.
So then, question for you. What would you say, based on over the last year and clients that you've worked with, is probably, let's just maybe one or two pieces of advice for people that are trying to advance their career? Because I used to do recruiting, and I'm nowhere near as specialized as you, but I see stuff all the time where I'm like, that is career suicide. So what are things that you see people do frequently that they need to stop doing?
Yeah, well, number one is social media. A lot of times they will put stuff out on social media. They don't think that these recruiters are smart enough to find it. And then they find it, and then it's like, oh, you can't get that job. Or if you're working at a company and you're posting something on social media that is a conflict of interest, like for instance, they worked at the Urban League office, and they were talking about boycotting Beyonce. So you might not want to do that if you work for the Urban League or any type of like office that caters to minorities, or caters to African Americans, and you're talking about boycotting someone that's an icon. And they got fired basically. So, things like that, people have to be careful with, how they put things out on social media. So that's number one. Number two, I think a lot of times, like, especially in this day and age, people are getting a little bit more relaxed at work, and nothing wrong with being relaxed. You don't want to be uptight, but you want to make sure that you still have respect for your managers, respect for your coworkers. And people are just kind of like, whatever. I'm just going to do whatever. And it's all about me. And it's not, we got to work as a team. And we're starting to kind of get better in that now. The shift is about to happen, but it's still slowly like happening in certain companies. But I feel like overall, people are just not really cognizant of others. And they got to respect others in their space and, their time.
So your answers right there just spawned another question in me that I want your opinion on. So Gary Vee talks heavily about personal branding and self-awareness. Mm-hmm. And this is a conversation I've had with people that I work with, as well as people that I don't work with. And it is that your personal brand. So I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. Mm-hmm. It's a small town, but it's still a pretty big city. And I think people sometimes fail to realize that if I am a tool bag here at this company and I leave and I go work for another company, this never happened and never existed, and these people somehow never interact with these people, which is false. But just out of curiosity for you, so here's my question. Mm-hmm. What are things people can do for their personal brand and their own job outside of their workplace, other than social media? And you can take that any way you want.
So I always tell people that any type of like volunteer activity, something that you do, it actually helps you with your own personal brand and you don't even know about it. Like for instance, let me see, it was the thing they used to do in college. Trying to think of the name of the program, Alternative Spring Break. That's what it was called. And for Alternative Spring Break, they had it in certain colleges and universities in the nation. But I mean, you can do this. I'm just giving this example because of what it did for me. And I know that other people can like benefit from doing any type of volunteer work. They don't have to be in college, but they can do something similar. So we went to Los Angeles. I was living in Tampa, Florida, going to University of South Florida. And from Tampa to LA, we went to what is called like the AIDS Project of Los Angeles. And so we did some volunteer work for that entire week. But just being a part of people that are going through this situation and where they are HIV positive, but then they need food, they need resources, they need certain things, and being there to help them and to hear their story, it made me even open my eyes to help, like to realize, and there are others around me that that are going through stuff that's even worse. So I should be grateful for everything that I have, you know what I mean, and be more modest and more humble. And that helped me out with my personal brand because as I'm going on the job, as I'm working, with different people, you stop and you say, okay, instead of accusing them or maybe, saying certain things that shouldn't really, be said to them, that's going to offend them. You understand that, okay, wait, me as a person, I need to be more cognizant of what I do and what I say to them or what have you, because this situation could be worse than mine. Or maybe it's a story that I can share with them, So, and that all like plays into your personal brand because you change like your mode of thinking and how you deal with things and how you resolve certain situations.
Awesome answer, man. Awesome. So then, what other than obviously the book tour that you just finished, what are things that you're going to be doing for the rest of 2017 and into 2018? So current projects or future goals?
Yes. So I don't know. You probably can't see this map. Can you see that?
Now we can. There we go.
Oh, so this is the future of the corporate pimp. So I'll give you kind of like a glimpse on like
there we go.
All right. So I'll talk about my current products right after that. But the future of the corporate pimp is year 2020. I want to have a network of career workshop facilitators all over the nation. And I want to have 5 different regional headquarters in the nation. The first main one would be here in San Diego, would be for the West region, but it'll be the main headquarters for the corporate pimp. And then I have Atlanta, I have New York, Austin, and then I have Detroit, Michigan. So with all these different regional headquarters, say for instance, a company organization calls the corporate pimp, hi, this is the corporate pimp, how can we help you? Yes, I would like to go ahead and have someone to be a workshop facilitator to talk about harassment in the workplace or to talk about diversity and inclusion or whatever the topic would be. But it would be something related to career advancement for their employees or the people that are just, in a team, environment. So they'll call. It'll be routed to their specific regional headquarters. So let's just say someone from Cincinnati, okay, from your hometown, from where you are now, they call and let me just look at my map. Cincinnati is considered the Northeast region. So it would be New York. So someone from New York, they'll go ahead and get everything, together. And then what they'll do is they'll send you over certain candidates. And you'll say, okay, well, I want this person to be the workshop facilitator for my organization. And then what will happen is that person comes on site, everything is done, they get paid, we get paid, everybody's happy. And I want to have this whole cycle going on. But at each regional headquarters, I want to have the corporate pimp university. So people can actually pay into getting certified and be certified as not career coaches, but certified as career workshop facilitators. So it's basically taking a workshop facilitator model, like teaching them how to do workshops, but only focus on careers. And I don't think I got to look again, but I don't think no one has actually built a model similar to this because it's going to be kind of like an Uber model of having contractors working under the corporate pimp. So it's like mini corporate pimps. That's why my slogan is raising a nation of corporate pimps.
That is awesome.
So that's the big global kind of vision. of the. I would say global, more of the national vision because it's only for the U.S. right now, but global is next. That's the whole of the story. That's another podcast. But right now, the main two tracks that I have as far as with products that I'm offering to my clients, I have a track of like basically what customer are you? What type of customer are you? So are you an individual or are you a business? And so for those that are individuals, it's resumes, it's career coaching, it's what other things I would do? Anything like related to resumes, video resumes. That's another thing that's actually going to be hot and new in the market at some point. But I'm going to be one of those trailblazers, if you will, because I got another idea about that. But I also will be doing other things, that would relate to like personal branding, what we discussed earlier. Also grooming and business etiquette, professional development, like one-on-one. So it's not just the career coaching and going over like the roadmaps, but it's also going over like little stuff like, hey, when you go to an interview, you might not want to wear red. You might want to wear blue because you want something earth tone. You want this, that, and other. If you have that red, it pops. And it shows that you're already an authoritative figure and that you're empowered. And no one wants to hire someone like that if you're going for this particular role. So things like that, little stuff, that's more of like other coaching that lumps into like certain packages that I have and the hourly, rates that I do for clients. So that's individuals. Then for businesses, will be more of like career workshops, lunch and learn sessions, things like that, professional development training, on the job training, all those different things will be offered to businesses for their employees. And my target market is anywhere between 25 to about 35, 36, because it's really like, and it's so funny because when I talk to my target audience, they get it. They get my brand right away. Like the corporate pimp, oh, yeah, so got you. Like we know it. But then it's funny because if I talk to a baby boomer or Gen Xer, they're like, yeah, what did you just say? Did you just say pimp? And they don't get it right away. Baby boomers especially, they're like, nope, sorry, just stop right there, But I had to learn too is that, I was a marketing major at University of South Florida, and I had to learn that when it came down to marketing, you have to have something that's engaging, but captivating, but also controversial. So I knew that pimp and corporate in the same sentence was an oxymoron, number one, and number two, it was going to cause some talk, but that's okay because the target audience that I have, they get it. And like what a good friend of mine says, he says, there's riches in the niches. So I might as well go ahead and focus on the niche. Of the millennials.
I love that, man. I love it. And honestly, your whole mission and your whole company, I'm all game for. I think it's phenomenal, and I want to share this with a lot of people because I think it's something missing in the marketplace. Because right now, because of people like Ty Lopez, entrepreneurship is, and I don't mean to say it like this because it's going to sound bad, but I feel like entrepreneurship right now is a fad. There's a lot of people who just feel like they should be doing entrepreneurship because it's the big thing everyone's talking about, and they're wrecking their careers. And there's nothing wrong with doing both. You can be successful in your career and still have a little side hustle. So I think what you're doing is awesome. And your whole brand is amazing, and people need this. But for those of you that are watching, that when he mentioned the video, it's going to come to me in a second, video resume, and you're like, what the heck is a video resume? Right. Just Google Gary V intern video. This guy made a rap video. Did you see it, Josh? Oh, look this up. It's crazy. So look it up. This Gary V's entire company, VaynerMedia, or whatever it's called, basically said, hey, we're looking for some interns. And if you think about it, Gary V, is massive. So you have all these people, and they're sending in paper resumes. But this guy did a rap song about why he should be his intern and made a music video, and it is hilarious. And it got posted on Reddit. And in less than 2 days, he had 15, 20 million views or something. And Gary just flies him out. He was on Gary V's show and is talking to this guy, and he goes, you're genius, you're awesome. And in the middle of him talking with this guy on the show, he looks at his guy and he goes, I don't want him to be an intern. I want you to pay for this guy to move out here. So if you guys are skeptical, no, don't be skeptical. Hit up Josh.
Right.
He knows what he's doing, and he's going to help you out. But watch that. It's awesome.
Oh man, I love it. I love it.
But I want to be respectful of your time because we're 20 minutes in. So I'll ask you my last question I ask everyone, and that's what's on your heart or on your mind right now that you either want people to know about you or just something in the world, a specific cause.
Let's see here.
Threw you on the spot.
I know. And I was thinking about this earlier because I was definitely prepped for it. But now I have like two answers. But I'm just going to give the one that I think. I'll just talk about the very first one I was thinking about in the first place was my mother. And if people are watching this and they maybe are following me on YouTube already, I know Marshall is. My mom, she passed away when I was 14. She had cervical cancer. She was 37 years old. My sister was 9. And I went through a lot with that. Being at the age I was at 14, number one. And number two, losing my mother. She was, to me, my number one supporter, my number one fan. Anything that I was doing that was like that was positive, she was always for it, and always just that parent that everyone always dreamed of having. And when she passed, it just made me just realize, like, whoa, wait, where's my motivation? Where am I going? And I actually had thoughts about suicide. Maybe I should take my life away because my mother's not here, and that's how I came on this earth. So I had all these thoughts, and then one day it just kind of hit me, and it was just like, you know what? I really, really, really need to look at my life a little bit differently and think of all the good things that my mother would want to see me do, and how proud she would be to see me even where I am right now. To me, I feel like it was also something that, in a sense, it had to happen for me to be where I am today. And I know a lot of times it's hard for people to deal with death. But my mother, her birthday, actually, she would have been 55 years old on November 29th. And I feel like with her death, it actually made me a stronger person. And it actually made me an individual that's a fighter. And she fought with cancer for at least 2 years. And the doctor had told her that she was going to die that particular night. It was like 6 or 7 months before she actually passed away. And if anyone don't know about cervical cancer, to all the women that are out there that are listening, make sure you get your pap smear every year. If they would have detected the pap smear, she would have actually probably been alive. But needless to say, everything happens for a reason. And it just helped me to really understand that even with the corporate pimp, no matter what people say, no matter if people are going to support it or they're not, I got to keep going. This train has got to keep moving. So if this is your stop to go, then bye. But at the end of the day, I love what I'm doing. I love my mission and my purpose, because I'm just so passionate about people understanding that, look, like you said earlier, like people reckon their careers because they want to do entrepreneurship. Well, understanding what are your skill sets so that you can just focus on your 9 to 5, because you actually may want to just do that, instead of being an entrepreneur, because you realize, wait, I can make 6 figures doing this. Oh, heck yeah, I don't have to be, on my own business. And if you want to own your business, then you can do that on the side. And I talk about that in my book. The last chapter is Hustle Harder. And I talk about, look, if you want to have your side business, you can do that. But then also make sure that you bringing in money in for your 9 to 5. So, I just feel like, with my mom's death, it just really taught me to just really hustle harder, really not give up. Even though the doctor told her she was going to die that night, she didn't say, okay, I'm going to die and that's it. She was really like, I want to see my children, get married, have kids, do all these great things. So, even with the hallmark, I call them my hallmark moments when I graduated from high school, graduated from college, and moved all the way out to LA and all sorts of stuff. I had those moments where I just teared up and I cried. But I always feel like, too, that she's around me because there were certain instances, like when I moved to LA, I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. So I moved from everything, from living in Atlanta, DC, and Tampa, and all those other cities. And, with me being in LA, it's like the apartment number, the very first apartment that I stayed in downtown LA, the apartment number was 1129. Her birthday is November 29th. And then even like the where my office is with the corporate pimp headquarters here in San Diego, it's on 600 B Street. And her name is Brenda, and it's 6 letters. So it was like, oh, wow. And then it's B Street, So it's like little stuff that's comforting. That's like, okay, I know that she's around and that she's watching over me and that she's happy, with my success.
That's awesome, man. I feel like you should somehow use those numbers in the future to create a nonprofit or something for her.
I think so. Yeah. I definitely want to do that one day.
That'd be really cool. Well, Joshua, I respect the absolute hell out of you. What you're doing, man, is awesome. And I'm going to keep sending people your way. And I truly hope 2020 does not happen for you. I hope it's 2018.
I hope so too.
Explode, my man. I hope you explode. And any way I can help, just let me know. I'd love to have you back on the show again in the future. But guys, for those of you watching either live right now or down below, I've already linked everything. He's got the Facebook page down there, his personal website, his personal page. Who you see right here is really who Joshua is. This is not some facade. I was talking with him before we went live. This is him. That's his heart, and we love him. I appreciate you, brother. And you guys have a good one.
All right. Thank you.